Inside a chilly, dimly lit intensive care unit in Atlanta, the city's midnight silence has been shattered by an event that has left an entire nation holding its breath. King Harris, the young son of legendary rapper T.I. and his wife Tiny, is fighting for his life. Doctors have delivered a chilling warning: be ready for anything. The words echo like a storm, casting a shadow over a family that has already endured more than most could imagine. King's frail body lies hooked to life support machines, each beep a stark reminder of his fragile condition. Every heartbeat is monitored, every breath measured, and the world watches helplessly as his pulse weakens with each passing second. Atlanta, a city that has long celebrated musical legends and cultural icons, now stands still, gripped by fear and uncertainty, as whispers of tragedy ripple through every corner of the community. Hospital insiders warn that the next 24 hours could be decisive, a window during which everything could change. Outside the ICU, the family is overwhelmed by grief. Tiny, in particular, was heard screaming through the hospital hallways before collapsing, a moment captured on camera and shared across social media, leaving millions of fans worldwide in tears. But the horror does not end there. This story is far darker than anyone could have imagined. According to a leaked medical report, the injuries King sustained go far beyond what would typically result from a standard jailhouse altercation. His body bears deep cuts, patterned bruises, and trauma that no ordinary fight could produce. The report paints a picture of intentional harm, suggesting that someone may have deliberately inflicted these wounds. Adding to the chilling nature of this revelation is a leaked audio clip purportedly capturing a prison guard whispering, "The order came from above, we just cleared the path." The mere suggestion that King Harris was the target of a coordinated attack sent shockwaves across social media, with fans, analysts, and journalists speculating about the possible perpetrators. Who could have given such an order? Was this the work of rival factions, corrupt officials, or even a conspiracy designed to silence the Harris family? Rumors have spread of an alleged ICU CCTV leak showing masked individuals tampering with King's life support equipment. If true, it would imply that his life was under threat even within the hospital, a place meant to provide safety and healing. The questions are terrifying. How could anyone infiltrate such a high-security environment, and for what purpose? The online community has erupted with speculation, theories, and demands for justice, highlighting the widespread concern and outrage over the young man's plight. Outside the hospital, a visibly broken T.I. confronted the crowd, his hands trembling and his voice cracking under the weight of unimaginable pain. "He's just a kid. Don't let them take my son," he pleaded, his words echoing across the streets of Atlanta. The city, often alive with music, nightlife, and energy, was brought to a stunned silence as news spread of King's critical condition. Inside the ICU, physicians delivered words no parent should ever hear. Every moment, every heartbeat was a gamble. Every breath his son took was borrowed time, and the medical staff moved frantically, attempting to stabilize the young man's fragile condition. King's bruised and battered body told a story far darker than a simple jailhouse fight, one that suggested deliberate and targeted violence. Meanwhile, Tiny was overcome with grief, her screams so intense they shook the floor. Her collapse in the hospital hallway was captured on video, which quickly went viral. Social media erupted with hashtags Justice for King Harris and hashtag Pray for King Harris, with millions around the world joining in a collective show of support, outrage, and prayer. Further reports suggested that King's injuries were not just incidental. They indicated a level of brutality far beyond that of a typical fight. Patterned bruises, precise cuts, and trauma that appeared methodically inflicted suggested deliberate punishment. The leaked audio of the prison guard, "The order came from above, we simply made the path clear," rocked the nation. Questions immediately arose. Who had the authority to orchestrate such an assault, and why would they target a young man like King? Outside the hospital, T.I. spoke to reporters, his face streaked with tears. "My son is being singled out as if he were an enemy. He is only a child. Someone must put an end to this madness." These words captured the frustration and despair of parents facing a tragedy that seemed both personal and orchestrated. The internet quickly divided. Some critics accused the family of inviting karma upon themselves, while millions of others offered prayers and messages of support, creating a digital landscape filled with grief, speculation, and moral debate. And as the public watched, another layer of fear emerged. A leak of CCTV footage inside the hospital purportedly showing two masked individuals entering King's ICU room. One hovers over his bed, while the other stands guard at the door. The footage ends abruptly, leaving an unsettling implication. Someone may have been interfering with King's recovery, casting a shadow of doubt over even the safest spaces in the hospital. Outside the hospital, hundreds of supporters gathered, holding candles, signs, and photographs, chanting and demanding justice. The air was thick with grief and anger as people tried to make sense of a tragedy that seemed to defy comprehension. Inside the ICU, T.I. paced relentlessly, his face etched with anger, while Tiny trembled with exhaustion, her face swollen from hours of crying. The family was reportedly asked to sign end-of-life documents, a stark indication that doctors feared the worst. Whispers of multi-organ failure and irreversible damage reverberated through the hospital hallways. Nurses rushed medications from room to room, each beep of the monitor hammering home the fragility of King's life. Around 5 a.m., the parents were taken into a private room where doctors soberly stated, "We may need to discuss letting him go if things don't improve." Tiny collapsed again, requiring medical attention. Her desperate cries, "Don't take my baby," echoed throughout the ICU, a moment recorded on video and shared across millions worldwide, in tears.
The tragedy intensified with the leak of a private medical report revealing unidentified substances in King's bloodstream, chemicals not typically associated with jailhouse injuries. Analysts speculated that these toxins could only have been administered after hospitalization, raising fears of intentional poisoning. In parallel, another CCTV leak allegedly showed hooded individuals entering King's ICU room and interacting with his medical equipment. Whether authentic or not, the footage sparked widespread panic, reinforcing fears that King's life remained under threat despite being under medical care. Social media exploded with hashtags such as #ProtectKingHarris, demanding answers and justice, while speculation about the possible culprits ranged from rogue hospital staff to organized criminal activity and industry sabotage. The atmosphere outside the intensive care unit is one of raw emotion and unbearable tension. T.I., a man normally composed and commanding in his presence, paces back and forth with his head buried in his hands, the weight of grief pressing down in ways fans cannot fully comprehend. Tiny, his mother, has collapsed multiple times, overcome by the sheer magnitude of seeing her son fighting for his life, unable to intervene in a world that feels simultaneously too large and too cruel. Family members stand close, whispering prayers under their breath, their faces marked by sleepless nights and the strain of emotional trauma. Witnesses who have seen these moments describe them as watching a family unravel in real time, a display of helplessness and devotion that transcends the public spectacle. Beyond the hospital walls, a sea of fans gathers, holding signs, chanting, and raising their voices in a collective plea to God for King's survival. Social media has become a virtual vigil, with hashtags like #PrayForKingHarris trending globally. Millions post their own messages of hope, hoping that somehow their words might reach the boy lying motionless in the hospital, serving as a reminder that even in the darkest moments, he is not alone. Yet this story is not confined to grief alone. The circumstances surrounding King's attack have raised troubling questions and fueled widespread speculation. Sources from inside the facility have alleged that this was no random prison fight, but a calculated assault, a premeditated attempt to silence a young man who may have uncovered information too dangerous for others to ignore. Reports suggest King may have stumbled upon secrets involving gangs operating within the prison, illicit smuggling operations, and systemic corruption that reaches far beyond the prison walls themselves. If these accounts are accurate, the attack on King was not born of impulse, but of deliberate orchestration, a violent act masked as a spontaneous altercation. Even darker theories began to circulate, linking the incident to figures in the rap world, including tensions between King and members of Boosie's camp. According to rumors, past scandals involving King may have ignited grudges, creating a volatile mix of personal and professional animosity. While nothing has been officially confirmed, the speculation alone has transformed King's personal tragedy into one of the most discussed scandals in recent hip-hop history. Adding fuel to the fire are reports of critical security lapses inside the prison. Surveillance cameras reportedly went offline just minutes before the attack, a detail that many view as highly suspicious. Guards allegedly abandoned their posts around King's block at the exact moment the assault took place, leading insiders to speculate that certain individuals had foreknowledge of what was about to unfold. Whistleblowers have added that this incident was never simply about a fight, but rather a deliberate effort to send a message, one designed to ensure King would be silenced permanently. These claims, paired with the already tense narrative circulating online, have created a storm in which speculation and outrage run rampant. Fans, journalists, and even industry insiders are dissecting every detail, drawing connections between rivalries, potential corruption, and the systemic vulnerabilities that allowed such an attack to occur in what is supposed to be a secure facility. Inside the hospital, the Harris family is bearing the brunt of a tragedy played out under the unblinking eye of the public. T.I., once a figure known for his confidence and composure, has been publicly reduced to a man overwhelmed by grief, demanding answers from hospital staff and prison authorities alike. Tiny, often a pillar of strength beside her family, has been nearly inconsolable, whispering through tears that all she wants is her son back. Friends close to the family have admitted that they are preparing for the worst, even as they cling desperately to any shred of hope. The weight of public scrutiny only amplifies their suffering, with online commentary ranging from heartfelt prayers to harsh criticism. Some accuse the parents of exposing King to danger through the pressures of fame, suggesting that the boy's presence in the public eye made him a target. One particularly brutal post read, "They raised him in drama, fed him to fame, and now act surprised that fame destroyed him." The Harris family now faces not only the possibility of losing a child, but also the crushing judgment of a world that feels simultaneously sympathetic and accusatory.
The medical reality is dire. King's injuries are so severe that doctors have warned that even survival could come at a tremendous cost. The scale of his brain trauma may result in permanent deficits, loss of memory, impaired speech, or a vegetative state that could last a lifetime. For a young man whose life was just beginning, the potential for such irreversible consequences is a devastating prospect. The situation is made even more haunting by the uncertainty surrounding the attack itself. How could this happen inside a facility designed to protect its inmates? Was this truly an act of random violence? Or was it a meticulously executed plan to remove someone who had stumbled too close to dangerous truths? Each passing hour without improvement turns the clock into a relentless reminder that every moment counts, and that life and death hang in a precarious balance. Outside the hospital, the world watches and waits. Crowds have formed vigils, holding candles and posters demanding justice, while online, hashtags like Justice for King and Who Planned This dominate discussions. Leaked reports and insider accounts suggest that surveillance cameras were disabled and guards abandoned their posts intentionally, reinforcing the belief that King was targeted. Some whistleblowers claim that a bounty had been placed on his head and that his assault was designed to send a message. Rumors link these events to powerful figures, gangs, and even industry insiders who may have feared exposure of secrets that could topple empires within the music world. These whispers only intensify the public's fascination with a story that continues to unfold in real time, leaving millions wondering what King may have known that made him so dangerous to others. The public heartbreak of the Harris family is magnified by the very visibility of their suffering. T.I., once a commanding presence, broke down before cameras shouting, "They're trying to destroy my family. They don't want King to live because he knows too much. But I promise you, if my son doesn't make it, the truth will come out."
Tiny has remained at King's side almost constantly, surviving on little more than coffee and tears, pressing her palm to the glass of the ICU and whispering for her son to awaken. Footage of these moments has been shared and reshared millions of times, resonating across the globe as a universal image of maternal love, vulnerability, and desperation. The family is now under constant watch, surrounded by private security while law enforcement patrols the hospital corridors, reflecting the unprecedented level of concern for King's safety even within a space meant to be secure. Complicating matters further are reports suggesting potential sabotage within the hospital itself. Grainy CCTV footage surfaced online showing masked individuals tampering with equipment near King's bedside before disappearing. If authentic, it raises alarming questions about how secure the environment truly is, and whether forces determined to silence him may extend beyond the walls of the prison. These allegations, combined with reports of a mysterious toxin found in King's system, suggest that the attack may have even been more calculated than originally believed, incorporating elements designed to inflict maximum harm and increase the likelihood of permanent damage. The combination of a brutal beating and potential poisoning paints a chilling portrait of an attack that goes beyond ordinary violence, moving into the territory of premeditated, targeted aggression. Online, speculation runs rampant. Forums, conspiracy threads, and social media posts dissect every new development, from alleged insider messages to the identities of those potentially involved. Some believe the assault was related to prison gang politics, while others suggest that King was silenced to prevent exposure of secrets within the music industry. Every rumor, leak, and post adds fuel to a fire that seems impossible to extinguish. One chilling post read, "If the prince falls, the kingdom burns," a warning that King's death could set off waves of retaliation and violence across the industry and beyond. Despite the chaos, small sparks of hope persist. Prayer circles, church vigils, and global support campaigns demonstrate that amidst speculation and fear, countless people still view King as a young man whose life holds value, rather than merely a headline or scandal. Children's videos praying for his recovery have gone viral, inspiring millions and uniting strangers in a shared desire for a miracle. Yet every moment of hope is tempered by the grim reality of his injuries and the growing suspicion surrounding the attack. Doctors continue to emphasize that every second counts and that the coming hours may determine whether King survives or suffers irreversible consequences. However, the images coming out of the hospital are haunting. Outside the ICU, family members pace with their hands in their hands, tears streaming down their faces. Tiny, King's mother, is seen breaking down completely, clutching anyone nearby for support as if holding on to their presence could somehow make this nightmare stop. T.I, known for his public bravado and confidence, has been reduced to a broken man, demanding answers from hospital staff, trying to make sense of a tragedy that seems incomprehensible. Witnesses describe a scene of sheer devastation, a family watching their entire world crumble, knowing that every second that passes could bring irreversible consequences. Doctors are giving brutally honest updates. The next 48 hours are critical. If King's brain does not respond to treatment, there could be permanent damage or worse. These words alone have sent shockwaves across social media, leaving millions of fans in sheer panic, praying for a miracle that may not come. The hashtag #PrayForKingHarris is trending worldwide as people from all corners of the globe join in collective hope, desperate to see him pull through. But beyond the tears and the hospital walls, the story takes a darker turn. Sources suggest this was no random prison brawl. Whispers and leaks indicate that King Harris may have been deliberately targeted. According to insiders, King knew sensitive and dangerous information about prison gangs and operations that could have posed a threat to powerful individuals behind bars. The theory is chilling. This was not just a fight, it was a planned attempt to silence him. And as if the idea of a calculated prison attack weren't shocking enough, reports have begun to link the incident to Boosie's camp, alleging that the attack was retaliation for scandals and leaked tapes involving King that had damaged reputations. Nothing has been officially confirmed, but the rumors alone are enough to transform this tragedy into a full-blown conspiracy that has the hip-hop world reeling. As the public absorbs these developments, the controversy surrounding King Harris continues to intensify. Critics argue that T.I. and Tiny may have pushed their son into the spotlight in ways that exposed him to danger, turning him into a sacrificial lamb in a family's pursuit of fame. Some online voices are merciless, claiming that his scandals and social media behavior made him an easy target, and that those same controversies may have indirectly contributed to this attack. Others, however, are simply praying, hoping for a miracle and holding on to the idea that King Harris can survive, despite the overwhelming odds. The collision of fame, family, crime, and conspiracy in this single tragedy has captured global attention, leaving no one untouched by its gravity. Inside the ICU, the atmosphere is tense and somber. The rhythmic beeping of machines provides the only soundtrack to a story that is as dramatic as it is tragic. Doctors are working tirelessly, but even they admit that the situation is critical. King Harris lies in a hospital bed, barely conscious, his young life hanging in the balance. The injuries he sustained were catastrophic, the result of a savage attack that left him with severe trauma to the brain. Emergency surgery may have saved his life, but it has not restored his health or consciousness. The swelling in his brain remains a grave concern, and specialists warn that even if he survives, he may face permanent damage, including memory loss, speech impairments, or a vegetative state. This is not merely a story of a young man in a hospital bed. It is a story of a family's deepest fears, of a community in shock, and of a world watching helplessly as a life teeters on the edge. Beyond the medical realities, the situation has sparked rampant speculation and conspiracy theories. Insiders claim that the attack was carefully orchestrated, a premeditated ambush designed to silence King Harris before he could expose secrets that would have rocked both the prison system and the broader industry. Surveillance footage reportedly went offline just minutes before the assault, raising questions about possible complicity by prison staff or other outside actors. Online forums and social media platforms are ablaze with theories suggesting connections to rival rappers, gang politics, and even prison corruption. Some allege that a bounty had been placed on King's head, intended as a warning to others who might speak out about the dangerous operations he had uncovered. Whether these claims are true remains unverified, but the narrative has captured the collective imagination of millions, turning what was once a private tragedy into a global conversation about justice, secrecy, and betrayal. Meanwhile, the Harris family is enduring unimaginable pain under the glare of the public eye. T.I., once regarded as a figure of composure and control, has been reduced to raw emotion. Witnesses say he has repeatedly confronted hospital staff, demanding to know how such an attack could occur within a facility that was supposed to be secure. Tiny has reportedly not left the hospital since King was admitted, surviving on little more than coffee and tears as she hovers over her son, praying for a miracle. Their other children are caught in a surreal nightmare, navigating grief while seeing their family's pain dissected, criticized, and debated online. Social media is unforgiving. Some fans send love and prayers, while others throw accusations like knives, blaming T.I. and Tiny for decisions that may have placed King in harm's way. One viral comment reads, "They raised him in chaos, fed him to fame, and now act surprised that it ate him alive." These words, harsh as they are, underscore the intense scrutiny and emotional toll the family faces as the tragedy unfolds. The attack on King Harris has not only affected his family, but has also sent shockwaves through the hip-hop community. Rappers, producers, and celebrities have poured out messages of support, while some quietly hint that the incident may expose a hidden underworld of industry rivalries, cover-ups, and criminal networks. Online forums are filled with theories suggesting connections between the prison system, gang violence, and the music industry, creating a tangled web of suspicion that only deepens the emotional impact of the event.
Meanwhile, hashtags like Pray for King Harris, hashtag Justice for King, and hashtag King Coma trend globally, signaling that the world is both watching and reacting, caught between sorrow, outrage, and speculation. Adding yet another layer to the nightmare, alleged CCTV footage surfaced showing masked individuals tampering with machines near King's hospital bed. If authentic, this would indicate that King is not even safe inside the hospital, a terrifying prospect that has forced authorities to increase security around the Harris family and King's room. Private guards, police patrols, and other measures have been deployed, but the fear that someone may still be trying to finish what started in jail looms over the family and fans alike. The tension is palpable, the sense of danger inescapable, and the stakes are higher than ever.
The tragic story of King Harris is no longer just about a young man in a coma. It has become a lens through which the public examines the intersection of fame, family, crime, and betrayal. Even as doctors and family members cling to hope, the broader implications of the attack raise questions that may never be fully answered. Was this an act of random violence, or was it a deliberate plot with far-reaching consequences? Who is responsible, and how deep does the conspiracy go? These questions dominate social media, news cycles, and conversations across the globe, fueling a narrative that combines grief, outrage, and disbelief in equal measure. Doctors continue to emphasize that the coming hours are crucial. Every moment King's brain does not respond increases the likelihood of irreversible damage. Tiny has collapsed on the hospital floor multiple times, sobbing, screaming, and pleading with the universe to spare her child. T.I, similarly devastated, has made statements to the press, warning that those responsible will be held accountable, and hinting at knowledge King may have possessed about dangerous secrets. The family's pain, raw and unfiltered, has become a window into the human cost of fame, violence, and conspiracy, and a reminder that even those who appear larger than life are not immune to tragedy. Protesters have gathered outside the prison where King was attacked, chanting for justice, while prayer circles have formed across cities worldwide. Hashtags like hashtag Pray for King Harris and hashtag Justice for King dominate social media as fans, friends, and strangers unite in hope and desperation. Meanwhile, theories continue to circulate, implicating prison staff, rival artists, gang members, and even hidden industry players in a complex web that grows more intricate with each passing hour. The story of King Harris has become a cultural moment, one that transcends the personal and touches on issues of power, corruption, and accountability in ways few tragedies ever do. Even as the family battles public scrutiny and private grief, reports of mysterious toxins and alleged tampering with medical equipment raise the horrifying possibility that King Harris's life may have been targeted far beyond the prison walls. If true, these developments turn a personal tragedy into a chilling narrative of conspiracy and danger, suggesting that King's struggles were never just about his own actions, but about larger forces at play seeking to silence him. Every leaked detail, every rumor, every viral video has intensified global attention and anxiety, making the family's nightmare not only ongoing, but increasingly public, inescapable, and unbearable. And yet, despite the darkness, there remains a glimmer of hope. Friends of the family have organized prayer circles, churches hold vigils, and fans across the globe light candles, offering support and solidarity in the only way they can. The world may be divided over conspiracies, theories, and blame, but for a fleeting moment, millions are united in one wish: that King Harris survives. That hope, fragile as it is, becomes a lifeline in a story otherwise defined by fear, grief, and uncertainty. As the night falls once again over the hospital, one question remains. Will King Harris ever open his eyes again, or has the world already lost him? The tragedy of King Harris is no longer just a headline. It is a symbol of youth destroyed by fame, a family devastated by forces beyond their control, and a reminder of the fragility of life in a world where fame, power, and danger collide. Every second counts, every heartbeat matters, and every prayer carries the weight of a world watching in disbelief.
As night fell, another purported ICU camera leak surfaced, showing masked individuals outside King's room carrying a metallic case. Conspiracy theorists suggested it could contain poison or equipment to sabotage his recovery. Whether real or fabricated, the footage reinforced fears that King's life remained under threat. T.I., visibly shaken and tearful, addressed the crowd. "They told me to prepare for the worst. How do you prepare to lose your child? My boy is fighting for his life. Please pray harder than ever." The next 24 hours were deemed critical, doctors warned, and Atlanta held its collective breath, waiting for word on the young man's survival. The world watched as this deeply personal tragedy evolved into a public spectacle of grief, conspiracy, and heartbreak. This story is far from over. King Harris continues to fight for his life while the Harris family navigates grief, uncertainty, and public scrutiny. Rumors of sabotage, conspiracy theories, and leaked footage have created a landscape where the truth is difficult to discern, but the heartbreak is undeniable. Millions continue to watch, pray, and hope as Atlanta and the world waits for answers. This is not a story of entertainment. This is a story of survival, power, and the fragility of life. Stay tuned, because the storm is far from over, and every heartbeat counts.